Hello guys and welcome back. So we're now here for another Pauper deck tech, which we're now checking on some of the new or updated list from the format posted on the MTG websites. And for today's kind of a setup here, which I posted in a while ago, is the Energy Reanimator deck. So this kind of setup, which we goes with the core function of the energy, which it was first released during the Kaladesh set and is now mainly supported with the recent Modern Horizons 3. And we now check on this kind of build, which goes with the colors of blue and green, and also having this ability to somewhat call this one as reanimate or gain advantage of this kind of strategy in this game. So we take a look at the lineup. Here we have 16 creatures, 8 instants, 14 sorcery, 3 artifacts that's mainly producing the energy, and also 19 lands. So checking on this build, we take a look at the lineup of these creatures. We have basically going with the division of having creatures that produce energy and those that gets you advantage when it gets reanimated or returned to the battlefield from your graveyard. So we'll take on first the smaller mana cost here. Let's see the grid view of these decks, and you can see most of the 2-drops here goes well with producing the energy. For instance, we have 4 copies of the Riddlegate Gargoyle. So when there's a battlefield, you get 3 energy counters, and this also goes with a 2/2 flyer. And whenever you attack, you may pay 2 and have target creature you control gains lifelink. With that said, it's not really goes well with having to spend this energy early on, but you need to produce this enough and also have a decent attacker that can pinch off early damage. And also a similar function here is your Sage of Salya's claim, wherein enters the battlefield, you will get 3 energy counters and also a 2/1 for himself, and that of Timing Turtle, which is 2 copies in the deck with also producing energy counters and also can be used as blocker for, say, in any situations. Now for the other cards that can basically have to use as a way to have them placed in the graveyard later on or early on are your copies here, which it can do through fire cycling effect. So when you fire cycle, you get to search for library or forest card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and when it enters the battlefield, it will get a food counter. Early on, you just need this one to do some mana fix by searching out the forest, and later on, it can be returned and have a 5/7 creature with reach, which can also produce a food token. Other options here, as you can see, we have 1-ops copies of let's say Mirror Share Crab. This one can be channeled to counter spell or ability, and this one not worm but also get you a 7 to cast 7/7 creature worm that can be cycled for 2 and can be blocked with creatures with power Tireless if it gets to be placed in the battlefield. And your other option here, another one of copy, is your Drown Your Lurker, which is 7 to cast 7/7. It can also be cycled and gets you a 7/7 vigilance. And the other creature here would be the Warp Tusker, which is also a hard cast, can be cast early and can be cycled to draw you a card. So in a way, also, what would be your ways to return these creatures? So we have the sorcery of this card, which are these copies of 4 copies of Bloated Awake. So choose up to 1 target artifact or creature card in your graveyard, and you get 2 energy, and then pay any amount of energy equal to that card's mana value and return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. In a way, this is your main reanimator spell and can also be used to cycle late on in any situations that you would not really need this one to get you to draw for a better card. So the other sorceries here would also goes with mana fix and energy producers. We have Reanimator, search library for a basic land, and you get to put it in your hand and then shuffle. You get 2 energy counters. Late to dinner is also your way to return creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield and create a food token. And then Malevolent Troubler, which is living in the 4 cards library, put a permanent card from among them into your hand and put the rest into your graveyard. So this is also a way to put those cycling threats to your graveyard by not paying for the cycle cost, for example, and at the same time you get a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn that can be used to sacrifice to ramp up to your bigger spells in the late game. And that for your instance, the last pile we can discuss, which is along also with the Woodweaver's Puzzle Nut. We have 4 copies of Aether Spike, which can counter spells unless they pay 1 for each of the energy spent, and turn the narrative, which is just basically a 1 mana cost instant card draw would get you 2 energy counters. And of course, Puzzle Nut as a way to gain life, for very efficient against aggro decks, to get you to live longer as you cast your best spells or reanimate them, and also getting 3 energy counters to you as you get to use them efficiently in the mid game. So that is the main setup. Let's take a look at the lands, which you can see here. It's been a fix of forest, island, and plains, so that is the band colors. And of course, some one-ups with Radiant Grove for green-white and Tangled Islet for green-blue, and 4 copies of Tranquil Landscape, which can search for a forest, plains, or islands card, and also can be used to cycle for any instance if not needed. Now let's take a look at our mana curve, which surprisingly just 2.63. You can see that we have a lot of 2 mana spells that can be used for efficient setup of this deck, but the main strategy would still be able for you to cycle your big creatures and then reanimate them as early as turn 4 or turn 5. And your color distribution here, we have 16 for blue, green is 16 also, with white of 10, but the producer is pretty much even with 7 producers for green, 5 for blue, and 5 for white. And last but not least are your tokens. Of course, Eldrazi Scions or Eldrazi Spawn can be used, and food token from the Generous End. And that's pretty much it for this deck for the Generous Reanimator, as we can call this one. It's Energy Reanimator with the band colors, and pretty much a very interesting archetype to seek or to try out in your daily grinds in the Pauper format, very much assembly in your local game stores or just online for MTG Online daily tournaments. So if you've already been playing this, I think it has already been released since the printing of or the release of the set Modern Horizons 3, and I think this had may already been evolved to be that more efficient, more practical, and being the Reanimator strategy. And if you have an updated list, just let me know in the comments below, so we can also have the good discussion of those deck, and we might have an updated deck for this archetype in the coming days. So I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. This is again Energy Reanimator deck for the Pauper format. Do like, subscribe, and see you guys to the next video upload.